Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. You might have made one going to
It's
Tallahassee.
mercy if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shally-oo, hoodie girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Beat the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets out the buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
Hello, welcome back to Buckets. I'm Vish. That's Melissa. Rocking a new setup and shouting out our co-host who is unfortunately unable to make it, but did manage to get us some great snacks. Melissa, I'm assuming you're gonna alert people to what you.
The board says Mama Bridges is the GOAT. So last year we were fortunate enough to experience Christmas candy sent to me and Vish from Matt's mom, aka Mama Bridges. And then this year she took requests. So I asked her to send me like all the fudge because that was my favorite, including this Oreo fudge, which might be the best thing I've ever tasted in my entire life. And in true Vish fashion, he got a bunch of like Almond Joy type candies. But it arrived today. It is absolutely delicious. So tonight's pod is dedicated to Mama Bridges. Thanks for the fudge and all the Christmas treats. And because Matt's not here, I'll just say go Barons. Because
it's dedicated to Mama Bridges, but also her son Matt, who couldn't join us. Happy holidays, Matt. I know he's as Melissa said, go Barons. Our guy is dominating from the coaching ranks. The Southern California basketball scene. The Barons are playing awesome. So
they just had a big win the other day.
Yeah, shout out to Matt and the Barons. They continue to win, and unfortunately for us, but fortunately for him and for the folks there in Fountain Valley, the more they win, the more games they play, and the less we get of Matt's time, but for a good reason. So go Barons, keep rocking it. Keep rocking it. When you guys make it nationally, we will Melissa and I will road trip it out there and then cheer you on in person.
We'll fly out there. We're not road tripping.
I said nationally. I didn't say we were going to SoCal. So when they get to nationals, wherever the hell that is.
Well,
anyway,
we had to get a show in because there was a lot of basketball that happened this
past. Before we do that, so we did mention you're rocking a new setup, which is this.
What?
So
how wide is it? Is it like 32 inches?
It's a 32 inch, but that's not the width. That's the diagonal.
So it's about 30 inch width.
Yeah, 28, something like that.
Vish was kind enough to give me an old monitor that I had been using for a while as a second screen that was kind of off to the side and then I had my laptop and I used like the laptop camera as my camera. But the stand was very wobbly to the point where he actually had to give me a second monitor because the first one, the piece broke off the back of it after it fell off my desk. I actually knocked it off my desk again, like after that, and almost knocked it off live on stream a couple weeks ago. So I decided I was going to buy myself a Hanukkah gift. So me and Vish the other day went to Best Buy and we're looking at monitors and came across this one. Works perfect. Got a nice new keyboard for it, and then you can't see, but behind it I've got two speakers, so I don't have to use headphones because I'm not really a headphones person. And then I've got a nice new webcam which Vish donated to me, which is what you're seeing now, and the mouse mat that I got from Lowe's.
where you buy all your top electronics.
So. I googled mouse mat and I happened to find it at Lowe's.
There was an alternative.
There was an alternative from a site that I'd never heard of, so I chose to go with Lowe's because I've had my identity stolen enough. But yeah, we're gonna break down. There were 3 games played. We're gonna talk about the men a little bit, and then we'll go into the women because there's a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, we do have to address the men though.
Yeah,
We
so
were there. We were there.
we were there. The men unfortunately lost to Mount St. Mary's in overtime, 78-74. We actually did have a chance to win the game because we did have the ball kind of last, although we took a shot way too early in the shot clock, and Mount St. Mary's actually got a shot off. So there's a lot more bad to talk about than good, but I think we'll address the good first. And the good is something that we've been like clamoring for weeks. Jalil Bethea got extended minutes in this game. And I'm very happy about that. He played 29 minutes. So the starting lineup was Cleveland, Kidd, Johnson, Staten McRae, and Ugochukwu. Nigel Pack's been out. But I think Vish will agree with me in that I think our best lineup currently with Nigel Pack out would be Blackman at the point, Bethea at the 2, Cleveland at the 3, Johnson at the 4, and Kidd at the 5. We ran that lineup for most of the last part of the second half of the second half. And I thought they did well offensively anyway. I thought we got good looks. The biggest problem we have is we really don't know how to play defense. Our rotations are terrible. I think we double too much and try to help too much, and we don't get back to the shooters. Luckily, Mount St. Mary's missed a bunch of 3-point shots. Otherwise, we probably would have gotten blown out. But
yeah, we had that discussion at halftime when they were sitting on 28 points that, a good team, because we saw the quality of looks they were getting, like a good team would have put up 50. In the second half, they kind of did. And, I know most people didn't watch the Charleston Southern game because it was going on during a game we also would not like to talk about, which is the Syracuse football game. But, if you look at the percentage they shot from 3, to Melissa's point, we just don't defend the perimeter at all. Some of it's the trapping, some of it's the strategic decisions being made. We're also just generally our guards are lost. The number of times they end up losing their guy when they're moving off the ball, end up sometimes on the wrong side of the court. Just it is really bad. And then to Melissa's point, then someone else has to rotate to try and cover, and then everything is just open. So it's just the team stinks. Let's be real here. So that's one of the major reasons. The other thing, we talked about the lineups continue to be a bit confounding. Yeah, we did use that line for a lot of the second half, Melissa, but we also still gave significant minutes to Divine and to Staten McRae, in key situations when they weren't playing well. Divine, frankly, froze up. Like, he didn't want the ball. He hot potatoed it. He refused to shoot. He took one shot that whole game. How many minutes did he play? 30 almost? 29? Something?
Divine played 19 minutes.
19 minutes. He took one shot. He missed a layup. And
I do want to point out everybody's plus minus was, actually Joe Bay's was 7, but minus Joe Bay because he only played 10 minutes. Everyone had a negative plus minus except Jalil Bethea, which was 0.
Yeah, but that can be misleading too. So
I know.
I'm
picking out stats that goes with my point of he needs to play more.
Well, he does. He needed to play more from the first game, and frankly, there are guys getting minutes that really shouldn't be playing a lot, if at all. And Divine's one of those. Joe Bay shouldn't be playing a lot, if at all. At this point, though, it's kind of like the season's over, so I don't know what the goal is anymore. But what is our record now? It's 4 and what is it? 9, 8, 4 and 8, 4 and 9, 4 and 8, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and so it is. Someone, I think it might have been Liam. I think it was Liam on Twitter pointed out. The Canes could go undefeated the rest of the way in ACC play, and they still would be on the bubble. They probably still wouldn't get in.
Yeah,
that's how bad this season's been. So this is, and obviously we're not going to do that. We're not a good team. So it's kind of like, what's the goal for the rest of the season? What are we trying to accomplish? We're going to have to play a lot better to make the ACC tournament. So I guess that's like the minor goal, but this is a lost season already, and we haven't even hit Christmas yet. And a lot of what has transpired was when we started 3-0, probably we were 3-0. And now the record is what it is. But when we started 3-0, we saw some of the seeds of this being planted. Like, why are some of these guys getting all these minutes? Why do we not put our most talented players in the court together to get them court time? And it snapped back in a big way. And now we're sitting here still trying to figure the lineup out. And, you know, it's pretty apparent to anyone watching this team without divine colored glasses, I'll just say, that Nigel, Jaleel, Matthew Cleveland, Brandon Johnson, Lynn Kidd should be starting and playing most of the minutes. Now, Nigel's been injured. He's in a boot. So we don't know when we're getting him back. So someone else will start in the meantime. But those are clearly your 5 best players. They need to start and play most of the minutes. And we knew that in October. So what we've been doing for 12 games is beyond me.
At this point, honestly, with Nigel out, Blackman needs to be starting over Divine.
And this is no fault of his. This
He's a
is
freshman who wasn't even expecting to play this year.
right, exactly. And this is
very raw. But like Vish pointed out, you could tell the hesitancy in the last game, and there's a reason why he didn't play a lot of that, crunch time towards the end.
Well, we tried to. He did in the second half. He didn't play in the overtime other than some offense defensive switches when we were trying to steal the ball, which he does pressure the ball well. He did play some of those key stretches where we were kind of losing the lead. And he was freezing up on shots. He didn't shoot. Like, he took one shot. He wouldn't shoot the ball when he was open. And Melissa knows this because I shout it in her face as they're doing it. If you're open, you don't shoot, get off the court. Because the whole point of the offense is to generate an open shot. If you're not going to take it, you've broken the offense completely. He might not be the best shooter in the world. He might not have the when someone drives in where the ball goes in the post and we rotate and you're open, shoot the ball. You have to shoot it. If you don't shoot it, the offense is going to break. You have to shoot it. And you didn't shoot it multiple times. He passed up open looks, which is why Coach Elvin pulled him out. But yeah, no, the team's broken. They're 4-8. They're 1-8 in the last 9. 1-2, and then they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4 home games in that stretch. 1-4 at home in that stretch. I mean, this is probably one of, if not the worst, power conference basketball team right now. And some of it's, I would say, a lot of it was self-inflicted. You did not have to go down this path. And as far as Divine is concerned, I blame the fans. This is a kid that was raw, that is that was going to redshirt, as Melissa said, and probably should have, because what's the point of wasting him on this team? And instead was put in there because they weren't comfortable with anyone else being the backup point guard. And then our fans overreacted to him doing some nice things in uncompetitive situations. When you're down 20 against Tennessee and they put in, their third stringers and you make a couple of plays, that is not indicative that you're going to be able to do it, frankly, even against Mount St. Mary's starters, which we saw. And the previous game to that, we only won because the front court basically didn't miss a shot across all 3 of them. And when you start looking at that's what it's going to take, you're not getting anything from your guard position. People are pretending like they're seeing something that's not there. It puts undue pressure on him. And you can see Coach L, actually, they didn't even know if you looked for it, but they decided not to publish the press conference up to the last game. But if you go for the one before that we won, you could see him start to talk through, hey, slow down. He didn't say it in these words, but slow down on the hype there. And he kind of sarcastically said, oh, he had 3 assists. That's probably a career high. Just kind of like, hey, you guys are like, I think his first thing was probably caught off guard in terms of, after that performance that Lincoln, Brandon Johnson, Matthew Cleveland put on 2 games ago, that the first question was about Divine. He's like, the dude scored 2 points. We're done. Like, what happened? Why are you asking about? And I think, our fans want that white knight to ride in here. And so he's a new player. Like, oh, maybe it's not him. It's not any of them. This team is broken. It stinks. And there's nothing saving it this year. And putting that pressure on Divine to somehow go from about to redshirt to he's going to carry this team is unfair. And so I think that's I think that is, that so then when his performance, is what it's been the last several games, and it gets to the point you can't pretend, it gets the preponderance of evidence then shows up that you can't pretend that it's not, because a lot of y'all were lying to yourselves and to us 2 games ago about what he was doing. He started again, and it was just as bad, except this time the front court didn't make every shot and we lost.
And I want to address the morons hating on Matthew Cleveland, who's by far been our best player the last few games. So y'all can shut up with that, with the hate also. Someone on Twitter said that the FSU transfer shouldn't be starting. I'm like, first of all, you don't even know his name. It means you're actually not watching basketball games. So sit down. He's clearly the best player on the court. Him and Jaleel were the best players on the court that last game. If Jaleel needs to be in the starting lineup, like, what are we doing?
I'd be surprised if he's not in the next game, but
it needs to be, like I said, Blackman, Bethea, Cleveland, Johnson, and Kidd. While Nigel Pack is out, those are the 5 best players on our team. They should be playing 30+ minutes a game.
Yeah. I mean, again, Coach L seems to like to get Divine in there for whatever reason. It's not showing up in
already
performance.
burned his red shirt, so he's gonna get minutes.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think that doesn't matter. They're all going to transfer. This thing is I mean, I don't want to be. I guess I will just
that negative.
But I am going to be like,
yeah.
This is not just a disaster this season. This is coming off of losing the last 10 games last year. This is coming apart at the seams. You can't even beat Mount St. Mary's and Charleston Southern at home. I don't think there needs to be any thought of we burn this person's red shirt or what about I mean, let's be real. The future is bleak. We're not going to, really address this at this point. It's December, but it does feel like we're seeing the last season for Coach L. I'd be surprised if he's the coach next year, one way or another. And I'd be surprised if any of these players are here. So I think we just need to, play the season out. We need to worry about who's burned what. To your point, Melissa, the one thing we can do is give Jaleel 35 minutes a game and maybe you play himself back into a first-round pick. So at least that's something that's good happening at the school, because that's the only thing we can actually do that's productive this year. Because right now we've taken a lottery pick and turned him into
around or off draft board.
And I don't see how he's here next year regardless. I would be very livid if I was him.
Oh yeah.
He has been very good about it. They've asked him questions. He's been very magnanimous. I would be very upset that I am not just not playing in front of players I'm better than, but also not given the same amount of leeway that they are, because these guys, like you said, Melissa, at the top, none of these people play defense at the perimeter. Like, they're guards, none of them.
Yeah.
But he blows one assignment, he's on the bench. We see other players turn the ball over repeatedly. He makes one turnover, he's on the bench.
I feel like he misses a shot and he looks at the scorer's table.
Yeah, and you can see it getting to him. So it felt like there's a double standard. Again, I'm sure Coach L is communicating with them and saying, this is what I need to see for you to stay on the court. He's not doing it, but
he missed his first shot of the game, and I turned to you and I said, I'm like, I need Jaleel to make these because I want him on the court. I don't want him to get taken off. And he hit a bunch of really good shots. He's got that little like floater on the baseline type situation that no one else is gonna make but him. He's
right,
so athletic.
And I think I think I said this to you some point in the first half. Like, it's pretty bad that we're this invested in every shot he takes, like sigh of relief when it goes, and just because we're afraid he's going to get benched and we're not going to see him again.
Yeah,
like that is bad coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right, when you're kind of like, I hope he makes this, otherwise they're going to, I mean, because he's the best player, most talented player on the team, and it's on a bad team too. It's like, what are we worried about breaking? Anyway, though, this is end times for this this era, it feels like, which obviously we'll have a lot more on in the offseason if something happens there. And what has been unequivocally and without even a close second, the greatest era in basketball history. Feels like it's run out of steam. And I know right before that Elite Eight run, it kind of felt similar, but this does not feel like it's recoverable.
No.
So anyway, good time. So next game is it's a conference. I think at Boston College on January 1st. Next home game is January 8th at home against FSU. Yeah, it's bleak. Again, I think small goal, somehow find some win somewhere, which will be difficult. Again, if you can't beat Mount St. Mary's and
You're
Charleston
gonna have to
Southern at
score
home,
100 points a game in order to win.
but
Because
even then, if you can't beat Mount St. Mary's and Charleston Southern at home, it's hard to see you scraping together enough ACC wins in order to make the ACC tournament. Again, the bottom three don't make it. We are by far the worst team in the conference so far. So there's not really a lot to look forward to, but that's the goal, is to somehow finish top 14, 15, and in the top 15 and make it to the ACC tournament. That's the best this team can do. And in terms of bringing in any of this since, again, I think this is I think had there been a voluntary thing after last season with Coach L, he might have had the ability to say, hey, look at my assistant coaches, maybe promote one. This feels like this is going to be a wipeout at some point in the near future, one way or the
hopefully
other.
we can get as close as good as we did with Coach Cullop.
It's different situations, though. That program was left in. Coach Cullop is somewhere, and we're going to talk about the women in a bit. Someone we're obviously big fan of her assistant. She kept, Coach Meyer's top assistant coach as well. A lot of the backroom staff that actually make the program run, which is really important. Like, people don't realize that. If she brought in new people to do that, she's distracted with that. Yeah, so keeping people like Margie and Lonnie, and then keeping Coach Fitz, all of that was led to a success. But that was also a program that was effed out of making the NCAA tournament last year, beat a bunch of good teams in the ACC, and
most people transferred though, so she did. We're
right, but it was a program.
It was a program on the up.
As a program, it was healthy.
Yeah,
this program was not healthy at the end of last year. Lost 10 games in a row, and was kind of a big mess. And then we were hoping that the new additions would help clean that up, and they have not. So whoever the coach is next year is going to be walking into a program that has lost an assload of games over the last 2 years, and God knows what the record's going to be over the last 30 games, because it was 0-10 then last year. It's 4-8 now. We got all these conference games. We're going to lose a majority of them. We're going to be sitting there on in their last 40 games, they're 9-31 or something.
It's going to be
someone's taking that over. So
it's going to be bad.
We're not hoping for anyone. I'm hoping for a coaching search, assuming that Coach L is gone. So I don't know that we need to pull someone from his tree. I think the other thing, and then we'll play the ad and talk something a lot more positive, which is the women are fucking awesome. But I think people, I just want to warn everyone, even though no one listens and they freak out later. Coach L took this program to heights that were unrealistic for this program. It is not normal. That's one of the seasons, but it wasn't just that. That wasn't just a one-off, because there are teams that can flash in the pan one time. There are even teams that can make a miracle Final Four run. But the fact that we consistently beat and compete with Duke and Carolina, that we've multiple times, been double buys in the ACC tournament, top 4 teams, make the tournament very regularly, made multiple Sweet 16s and Elite 8 in the Final Four, won the ACC tournament, won the ACC regular season multiple times. That is well above the ceiling of this program. I guess technically it's not, because the program did that, but he elevated it well beyond expectations. And whoever we bring in is just because, look, we have to do that. And again, I think one way or another, and the reason I say is I think he's probably had it with this too. I think for him, it's probably a decision that he'll make versus us doing it. But
I just want to say also, because we're talking more about the bad stuff right now with the losses and stuff. And yeah, there is some to blame with Coach L as far as what the rotations were and the management of the team the last 2 years, whatever. I know injuries were out of control last year. We have all the love and respect for Coach L. I was a student when Coach Haith was there. Vish was a student when Perry Clark was there. So we've witnessed the bottom of the barrel for this program. 2012, 2013 was like the first time where I was like, oh my God, look what we could do. Obviously, we didn't go past the Sweet 16. I think that could have been a Final Four team, but injuries, whatever. We made an Elite Eight and then a Final Four in back-to-back years. Like, if you would have told me that in 2013 after we were horrible, after we made the Sweet 16, I wouldn't have believed you. So, like, I know we say, like, oh, we think it's L's time and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't change the fact that L is forever a Miami legend for what he's done for this program, and they should name the court after him.
Right, and I think just a bookend, yeah, but just a bookend that, like, whoever we bring in here is not going to replicate his success, and I think we all just need to be mentally prepared for, being more of maybe we'll make the tournament every few years as a ceiling and not what we've been doing, which is, oh yeah, we're going to go up to Carolina and beat them. Miami doesn't do.
He has the best record in the ACC against Duke and Carolina.
Right, and that type of stuff is just not, frankly, something we should expect from our program. It's something he's gotten us used to. And again, I'm just warning people, when the new whoever it is comes in, that we're not going to be able to do that.
Hi, Rocky.
Like just the idea that, yeah, we can go and win in Carolina, we can go and win in Duke. And, if you look at teams like that you consider, solid ACC programs like Clemson, they obviously have never not been, they've been in the ACC forever. They've won at Carolina like twice in their school history. Like, I mean, I think you need to really understand, how he's elevated this program, and also level set expectations for whoever takes us over in terms of what set your own
bias. After last year, people were calling for his head, forgetting the fact that he had led us to an Elite Eight and Final Four back-to-back years. Like, it's all recency bias. If you can't, like, someone was going after me on Twitter for calling him a coaching legend, and I'm like, at Miami, he's a coaching legend. Look what he's done for the program.
I mean, he's going to go into the college basketball Hall of Fame. So again, those are idiots, though. I think we're saying
bandwagon fans.
No, but I'm more saying that for people that been watching since Coach L has been here. To your point earlier, that's the greatest era we've ever had, and we're very unlikely to replicate that level of success with a future coach. That doesn't mean he has to. I think it's time. I'm assuming he's going to come to that conclusion as well at the end of the season, but understand that the person coming in is going to be worse. Not than in the last 2 years, because if they do, they're going to get fired pretty quickly. But you're not going to have that level of success, and that's. We
just have to temper expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
L exceeded expectations for sure. It's as much as we joked around about it being a basketball school after we made the Elite Eight and Final Four. It's not a basketball school. It is what it is. It's a football school. Maybe we could be a baseball school this upcoming season. I don't know, but to show L any disrespect after what he's done for this program because of the last 2 seasons is just pure blasphemy. And you're not a real Canes hoops fan if you're disrespecting him like that. He's the best.
Yeah, and
coach we've ever had at the school.
And I don't think he lacks self-awareness. So I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he knows it's time. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, but Melissa actually talked about this off air a little bit. He was never going to leave right after the Final Four, which necessarily means it was going to end on a low, and that's what's happening, and that's okay.
Does MF Doom have a special thumbnail, or is that just an old one?
No. It's us. We're hooping. I'm glad I got the height advantage. It's accurate. Nice.
Yeah, if I'm hooping with my hair down like that, that's pretty crazy. But nice to be included in a thumbnail, though.
Well, this is what happens when Matthew doesn't show up. You get plugged in. We went to the sub. Went to the bench. We
Dune,
put Jaleel in.
Dune winning the hoodie giveaway literally was perfect.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Dune,
Yeah,
that's
and then CCH, we have been reading your rants.
we
Actually,
are.
Underdog Grit does not fit us at all. That dude's been at Drake for like a week after, coming from D2. So slow down.
I was talking to a friend of the show, Liam, via text the other day. And we were just kind of talking back and forth about coaching, blah blah blah. And he was like, I don't want us to. He said he didn't want to like get a former assistant or assistant now, that he would love to go after like some of these bigger school assistants, like a UConn assistant or an assistant that's been with a big time D1 program for a while and give them a shot. And I don't hate that idea.
But
So
I'll be honest here, and this is part of me. I'm just resigned to this. I don't know what works here for hoops. I mean,
yeah,
we've had two good coaches since we brought basketball back. One was Leonard Hamilton, who was a well-regarded coach, but he built the program from scratch, so he lost a lot of games at the beginning. You're kind of just like going through it. And then Perry Clark and Frank. Yeah, we're done with the Drake comments. Then Perry Clark and Frank Haith were disasters, and then Perry Clark was a disaster. Frank Haith wasn't as bad, but still not good. And then obviously Coach L's the best coach we ever had. But Coach L got hired because his son had connections, got in front of the ED, and he sent them his Wikipedia page. Like, this is not football where we know we're gonna have coaches lined up a mile long wanting the job, and we have successful alums that want to coach here. Football can kind of pick. I honestly don't know what works here. I don't know what we're going to be able to do. So it's a kind of a bit of a crapshoot, to be honest. Like we don't have a basketball pedigree.
Yeah. All right. Let's do our adding it to the women, because let's move on to happier times.
With that said, the men again do play again after New Year, January 1st in Boston, and they do. The next home game is a rivalry game against FSU, which is one that we've struggled in quite a bit lately. So, again, so the big goals of the season are long gone, but there's some small ones. Hope we can play some good basketball at points, win some games, pull some upsets, and get into the tournament. And so the games still count, and so we're going to go out there and play them.
Yep. All right.
That bouncing ball can only mean one thing. It's time to hoop. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can play higher or lower on all your favorite players, like Miami's own Tim Hardaway Jr. I love Underdog's Win Now feature, which lets you cash out whenever you want. So join over 5 million fans that are already playing on Underdog. And with their Pick'em game, you could win money by making entries with your favorite players. Download the app today and use code 5REASONS to get up to $1,000 in bonus cast instantly. That's UnderdogFantasy.com and the offer code 5REASONS to get up to $1,000 in bonus cast. That is FIVEREASONS. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783, or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY.
All right, happier times. Let's talk about the women. They went to Hawaii this past week and won the Maui Invitational. We beat Nevada and Oklahoma State. Cameron Williams.
Oregon State,
sorry.
The Beavs. Come on, the Beavs.
Sorry.
How could you forget the Beavs?
Because the announcers are so obnoxious that I've
They kept saying Beavs, though. Come on.
And then, so Cameron Williams was named to the all-tournament team, and Haley Cavender was the MVP of the tournament. So the first game we played Nevada, and we won 84-53. The first quarter it was close, and then we kind of just pulled away. We were up double digits at half, and then it just went crazy from there. Haley led us with 25 points and 12 rebounds, another double. She had double doubles in both games, by the way. She had 25 points. Cam had 14. Nat had 12.
Darion shot well in that game.
Darion did shoot well. She was 4 of 6. She was 3 of 5 from 3 for 11 points. Yeah, a lot of the upperclassmen got on the board, got on scored, whatever. Not that much to critique about that game except the slow start. Other than that, I like what I saw. Also, I watched that game at like 2:30 in the morning. In hindsight, I probably should have rewatched it, but that's okay. The second game was a bit closer. Um, we played the Beavs, Oregon State. Uh, Haley had another double double. She's insane. 20 and 12. Cam Williams had 21 points and 5 boards. And Jasmine had 11. Our starters were pretty much the entire scoring. Ane, Leah, and Darian did not get on the board. But Coach Cullip in both games did something interesting. In the second half, she started Darian instead of either Cam or Nat. So not sure what was going on there. I also just realized Haley played the entire game that game.
Yeah, well, let's start with Haley. So she's a top 15-ish player in the country. That decision that Coach Cullip made before the year to move her off the ball
and have Hannah start at point
has taken her game to another level. It's not just when Hannah's at point, because she's also putting Ane in quite a bit and having her do some of that as well. And just Haley, like you said, is a rebounding beast and able to get her own shot now that she's not having to set up the offense and distribute to everyone else. She's able to focus on more of her game. She was one of the top scorers in the ACC 2 years ago already.
She was our leading
but getting her off the ball has just elevated her game to another level, and she's one of the better players in the country.
It's and to PCH's point, because she said that she didn't even play last season. It's really insane to think, because she had a year off, and she's better than she was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously she's playing off ball, so that helps. Her 3-point shooting hasn't been as good, but like just her drive to the basket, like her court vision, her rebounding, like everything, like it's insane. And I don't. Was somebody's hot take that she'd make ACC first team? I don't even remember.
No, I said Jasmine would, which ain't happening. But I think you or Matt said she would make one.
Scoring year, but she always seems to be around when you need her for a big shot.
Yeah, no, I think our starter, it's a sharp contrast to the men's team that the 5 starters are the 5 best players. They're all contributing. As TCH says, as he misspells Hannah's name, they are, everyone is contributing in the starting 5. They're all crashing the boards. It's always Haley, but the second best player in any given game is not obvious. It can be any of the other 4 starters because they've all stepped up at times. They've all been the best player at times. It's just Haley's always 20 and 10. And so she's just consistently putting that up there. But Cam's had some great games. Nat has, Jazz has.
Cam has had a couple games where she's had foul trouble and that's affected her. But when she can stay on the court and like develop a rhythm, she's so good. I mean, even on some of the shots that she missed in the post, it was great footwork. It was a great shot. It just didn't go in. I'm sorry. I mean, I haven't watched every single game, every single team, but in the country, but she's got to be in like the top 20 posts.
Yeah, and what she allows us to do, and you saw this against Oregon State, whose record isn't good. They're going through a rough year. They are a big time program. I don't know how the whole Pac-12 imploding has probably impacted their program quite a bit. They're in the West Coast Conference now, but they were
games and home games this year.
Yeah, there's some weird thing they did with their schedule, what their coach was complaining about. But the net of this is, they do still have some players, and they have legitimate size inside, and Cam was able to battle and win that battle, and that matters, because that's something I can tell you, last year we ran bigs out there, but they wouldn't win those battles. They wouldn't rise to that challenge, and she does that. So, and the fact that we can also play Nat at that position, we can do some interesting things there. And I do think, I hate to just compare everything to the men, but what this year started out with is these are my 5 starters. I know NA started the first game with that weird thing where Jazz was injured and didn't practice and came at the first whistle. But these are my 5 stars. These are my 5 best players. I'm gonna ride them, and I'm gonna figure out how to use the backups around them. And as that's happened over time, to your point, Melissa, she started to compress the rotations a little. We're seeing a lot more Darion, less of Lamaya. Anae gets a lot of minutes, and we're kind of seeing her coalesce around these are the people, these are my starters, and when I can play them, and she's done this multiple times too, like play, especially in the third quarter, stars are out there 5-6 minutes together at a time, right? And so she's doing that as well. Now, again, to your point, she tries to navigate around foul trouble, and one of the ways she's doing that is to go small, like rather than bring in Daniela or Aurora, she's been bringing Darion and playing her at the 4, going a little smaller that way, or bringing in an A and sliding Jazz to the 4. But she's figuring out her essentially counters, her plan C, D, E, and F, because her A is solid and she knows it, and that's what she wants to play. And then when she has to make changes, I think the first change is, Nat or Cam comes off, because generally the first forcing function is foul trouble. And then she usually goes to Darion or an A, depending if she wants to play big or small. And so you can kind of see her working through that and evolving that over the season to the point that the team is 11-1, very comfortable with their roles. And it's been really good coaching. That's what it's been.
Yeah, Jasmine was in foul trouble that second game, so we saw a lot more of Anae, but
right, and Darion got her minutes and couldn't hit shots, and so that's what she's on the court for. So then
she's gonna live and die by the 3. She's
right,
the first game she hit a bunch. So
yeah, and that's fine. Like I said, I only get mad at her when she doesn't shoot. And that's because that's her game, and she is 100%. We're gonna be sitting there in a crucial ACC game, and she's gonna win it for us by knocking out a bunch of threes.
Yeah,
and that's why you need her to keep shooting. But again, this is what I'm talking about, Coach Cole, developing not just the plan A, but the B, C, D, and E, and F, and whatever letter she's at this point. She knows, all right, Darion's it's not going for her. I'm gonna switch it up and do this, and still putting people into roles they're comfortable in. So it's never like, what is that lineup on the court? It's always, oh, we've seen that play before. And so that's all of the things she's been doing with the bench has been mixing and matching these players so they're comfortable playing with each other. And now as we get into, tougher games, if there's foul trouble, if someone's shot isn't going on, she's got all these other lineups that she can put out there with talent, because she did a great job bringing in some of these kids in the portal, but also with court time together as a unit. And so when she does things like, to your point, okay, Darion's shot's not going in, Jazz is in foul trouble, we're going to play Anae extended minutes. Anae has played extended minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So she's comfortable out there. She's played with Haley and Hannah and Nat and Cam. So when you put her in there, she's comfortable in that role. And I think that's what we spent 12 games doing.
Pretty much the same rotation from the beginning. And we just talked about at the beginning of the year, like, oh, the rotations might get a little tighter. You might see less players. But she's pretty much kept with the same rotations, except when there's foul trouble, which is a stark contrast from the men's team.
Yeah, I mean, the men's team doesn't have a plan A yet, so. And there probably isn't one that works based on what we're seeing. But no, but that's the thing. In a way, the challenge for the women's team is harder, because with the men's team, there's nothing to break. It's broken. Yeah, let me play Divine 30 minutes. Who gives a crap, right? But for the women's team, there's stakes, and it's sometimes harder to deal with things working, because you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I marginally and incrementally improve that? Because frankly, like the Vanderbilt performance, you don't want to do that in the ACC. That was a good barometer for us, and we didn't meet the challenge that night. It's the only loss we have, though. So how do I improve on that without breaking everything else we're doing that's working well? Yeah, and she's actually done that. I think we're a better team now than we were in that game.
We've won all the games we were supposed to win. Going into Vandy, I think we pretty much were in the thought process of, this is our hardest game in the non-conference.
Right, but I guess my point is, so you get punched in the mouth there. You don't necessarily respond well. Mm-hmm. You lose. Now, how do I take that go from there and build. So that's a positive because it's a long season and get better without breaking all of the stuff that got us to that point undefeated. And she's done that really well. She's done that really well.
I saw the improvement because Oregon State is a bigger team as well. And I know they're not as good as Vandy, but we struggled with Vandy because their backcourt was big, their bigs were big, and Oregon State stayed in the game for most of the game because they bullied us a bit, but we found a way. So it also helps that Haley's just a freaking machine. But she's so good. Just like I would rewatch the Oregon State game, but I just can't deal with the views on that court and I will never complain about ESPN Plus ever again. But she's just so good, just moving with the ball, moving without the ball, rebounding, passing, shooting. Like she never takes a bad shot. Like it's just insane. I didn't realize how much better she was from 2 years ago, and she was arguably our best player, probably top 2. I mean, we had Destiny Harden 2 years ago, so I mean, up there. So it's just, I mean, she's just been really fun to watch. And like the Oregon State game, I didn't even realize she played the whole game. She never came out.
Yeah, no, she's been outstanding and won ACC Player of the Week, and yeah, she's one of the better players in the country. And she was good 2 years ago. She's elevated, and the whole team is, again, I think they've managed to take that Vanderbilt game and become a better team after it.
It gets interesting now because obviously we move into ACC play, and our next game is Sunday at home against a ranked UNC team. So we're going to get into the gauntlet now because there's 6 ranked teams in the ACC currently. The ACC is the hardest conference in women's basketball. I mean, it's just crazy. So we're gonna start to see where we lie. I think we were picked to finish 8th preseason.
I'll pull that up real quick because
in the preseason rankings, you could kind of see like you had that top tier, the mid tier, and that bottom tier, and we were kind of the top of that mid tier. So it'll be interesting. I mean, obviously we were very concerned because it was like a brand new team, brand new coaching staff. So we were concerned about how everyone was gonna gel.
We were picked to finish 8th. You're right.
The ACC is obviously a tough conference, so I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but I think we're going to be very competitive.
Yeah, I think we'll be competitive. Well, we compete, so we'll be competitive. But so just for reference, Melissa, one of the teams in front of us was not Georgia Tech. They were picked to finish 10th. They are actually one of the better teams in the country. It turns out they're undefeated and really good. They've already beaten North Carolina. They're an excellent. So again, to your point, this is just a monster conference it's
a monster
that we're gonna have to navigate through. So right now, Georgia Tech's undefeated. Cal is also ranked. I think they were picked to finish 14th. Oh man, this is gonna be a bit of a challenge in terms of the teams that picked in front of us that might be struggling. Definitely Stanford is probably worse than people expected. They might be the only one though. Like Carolina's still ranked 17th, so that'll be a challenge. But that is a chance for us to get our name out there. We are getting 0 votes in the poll right now. So
a couple people on Twitter like, how are we not ranked when we only have 1 loss? And I was just like, we gotta.
Yeah, I mean, look,
competition we lost.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt really, really dominated us. Actually, I'm looking, they're not ranked. So, women's basketball is weird because, they're not, the overall record is one thing, but the schedules are so imbalanced that, teams get ranked weird. Like Vanderbilt's 12-1, they blew us out, and their only losses to a ranked Michigan State team, and they're not ranked either. They're getting votes though, but I mean, it's just someone like North Carolina's lost like 2 or 3 times already, but they played a monster schedule, so they're still ranked. It's just that's the way it is, especially early in the season. We keep winning games, as Melissa pointed out. Plenty of opportunities for quality wins to really boost the resume there.
I mean, it's like almost every team in the ACC is a quality win.
But I mean, if you look at our resume to this point, I think probably at Florida is our best win, or the 2 wins in Maui. We did also those we had a rough week there where we not just lost to Vanderbilt by 18 at home, but
We
that
went to overtime with Quinnipiac.
yeah, so that we weren't playing our best ball then. I think we've gotten better since then. Again, I think that Vanderbilt game kind of probably helped us in the long run. So we're gonna have another test, like you said, in about a week, 6 days, hosting ranked North Carolina teams.
Games are important. We got to win those.
Right. I mean, like you said, the ACC's you can be a really good team and finish 10th, 11th. So
if you think about it, last year we finished 9th in the ACC, and we should have made the tournament, and we didn't.
Yeah.
So that's how loaded the ACC.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that this is now tougher because Stanford's here. They're a power team, and that like they're historically one of the better programs in the country.
And
They're going
Cal
through
was
some
doing
yeah,
well.
and then Cal wasn't even supposed to be good, and they're 13-1 and ranked 21st. So yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think this team is up to the challenge.
I think so. I think the biggest things for me as far as us winning games is obviously the foul trouble situation of our front court. Not so much worried about free throw shooting as I was last year. We shot 14 of 15 from the line against Oregon State. So our 3-point shooting has not been good. So
yeah, I think the foul trouble I'm actually less concerned with just because we have options and I think coaches, but again, one of the things I think that's kind of underrated is she's very consistent in how she approaches her rotations and how she does things. And so whatever happens in an in-game situation is something she's already kind of thought through. This is how we're going to respond to it. The players are comfortable with it. Yeah, I don't want Cam or Nat, and certainly when both of them, I believe that was against Pitt, was that where they both got in foul trouble? That's definitely not good. But like we know, if you get 2 fouls in the first half, you're sitting. She's very consistent with that. And so the players know that. They know the bench knows to be ready. Hey, if someone picks up a foul, all right, I know I'm going to have to play a lot if they get the second one. So again, you build that consistency, and then when those high-pressure situations where those scenarios come up, you're prepared for them. This team is very prepared. That's why I think, and that's what you're going to have to be to get through that gauntlet of an ACC schedule. So I think they're well positioned to do this. I'm really, really happy with the way, I mean, I don't want to call it the preseason, but the first 12 games have gone. Did notch the one conference win, which matters.
they're looking like a tournament team.
Yeah. And maybe even a little bit beyond that. We'll see, because we have playmakers and we have players that are good in pressure situations. As bad as there's been stretches and that the end of that Pitt game, you're not going to put that in the Louvre or anything.
I would like to see a little bit more consistency. We've had a few games where we've had a very slow start in the first quarter, and we've had a few games where we've given up double-digit leads. So I would like to see a little bit more consistency, but we've had a few close games, and we've managed to pull them out. So that's good.
Yeah, the only, like you said, the only loss we got played off the court. Anything competitive we've been able to, because again, we didn't, there's that Oregon State game we kind of took control at the end of the third quarter, and it was not really close in the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
The Pitt game was close. We blew a big lead and was closer than we would have liked, but in that, especially offensively in the last sequence was not good. But the defense was. And so I feel like we're a team that
they can play defense.
I feel like they can to a certain extent, right? I think the size is an issue, especially the guard position. We have seen teams be able to shoot over the top of them and get and scored in bunches, which Quinnipiac was able to do too. But they compete and they know how to win games. They know, and they make big shots. Look, Quinnipiac, we blew up, 22-point lead, ended up winning in overtime. We only got to overtime because we hit a 3 at the at the end of regulation to force it. Of course, it was Haley that did it, but this is a team that a lot of both the Cavenders, Jasmine have been in the Elite Eight. They know how to win. They know how to close games out, and you can see that.
I was at Notre Dame last year, and they won the ACC, so she knows how to win.
Yeah, so these are I think they're ready for it. It's going to be a challenge. They're going to lose some games. Obviously, we're not going to go undefeated in the ACC, but I think they're going to rise this challenge and meet it.
And we have really, really good coaching. Like I mean, obviously we're only 12 games into the Coach Cullop era, but like they did well getting her and her assembly of coaches who have all been on the show. So go back and watch. I mean, if you go back and watch our show after Coach Meyer retired, you would have thought the world was ending. We didn't think that it could possibly be this good, but Coach Cullop fan club.
Yeah, again, they're very well prepared, and
top five, I think it's top 10 once was finished. Depends what site you look on. Top 10 recruiting class in her first season.
Yeah, and again, I think everything's intentional. And again, not to compare it to the way the men's team is operating at this juncture, but she's the use of these 12 games leading into. I know one was an ACC game, but it's really 12 games, and then you really just play your ACC games.
Mm-hmm.
Was navigated expertly in terms of the way the team was challenged. That Maui tournament was added after she was here, if you recall. Okay, that's going to be difficult to fly all the way out to essentially Asia and play 2 basketball games in less than 24 hours.
In a high school gym.
Yeah, but she's going to challenge the team to do that, right?
Yeah.
We were the only team that did that, right? Oregon State, Nevada, they're not coming from the East Coast.
Western Kentucky played in it too.
I mean, Western Kentucky is just taking a free trip to Maui. We're trying to make the tournament, right?
Yeah.
So she found a way, because she also talked to us about how, hey, they can't do a European trip because you're only allowed to do that once every 4 years or whatever it is, and we did that last year.
Yeah.
So how do we then get a similar bonding experience and challenge ourselves in the same way? And she found a way to do it by getting the team to Maui. So again, I think everything's been intentional. And she looked at those 12 games, and I've mentioned this on the show multiple times, but at the ACC tip-off, they asked her what she thought of the other ACC teams, and this is the best conference in the country. How do you navigate that? And she's like, I'm looking at our team first. That's what we're scouting. I'm not scouting the opponents. You can see that she's built this team. She used those 12 games to get them where they're entering ACC play. I know we already won an ACC game, but like the bulk of the ACC schedule, on upward trajectory, feeling good about the team, where they're at, and their ability to compete.
She knows what it takes to win. I mean, she was at a mid-major before coming here, and I mean, I forget who it was. Was it Coach Page that said this, that they had to rearrange banners at Toledo because she won so many things there? Like, she built a winning tradition at Toledo. She knows how to win, and now she's getting her chance at a power conference, school in Miami. And it seems like they like it here because they post about it a lot. So I think Coach Cullop's going to be around a while. And she knows how to recruit and she knows how to coach. So and it's in a really tough conference. So in a few years, man, I feel like we could be an ACC contender. I mean, I know I could be telling lies, but she's got me hype.
Well, I mean, we're undefeated right now, so I'm not looking ahead to future years.
I'm not saying this year, but just in general, just with the momentum she's.
No, I know you're not saying. I'm saying I'm not giving anything away. We're 1-0 in conference this year.
Yeah.
I'm focused on this year. Let's go win more games. We'll see where we land. Do I expect us to win the ACC? No, but I don't see why we can't.
Tournament, and then hopefully me and Vish can go out to a first and second round matchup somewhere.
See, but this is where I'm not willing to concede that yet. Because let's go out to the
wall. We got to win ACC games, but it's
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm going the other direction from you. You're tempering expectations. I'm saying, look, we're 1-0 in this conference. We're 12-1. Yeah, win your games, win what we can. Let's see where we land. Maybe we can host the first 2 games. Maybe we just go to the wall.
Yeah, and that's a big thing with the women's tournament is the first and second round, the top seed hosts. So I'd rather Haley shush the crowd in our own gym instead of Indiana. Not that you'd have to shush the crowd. Hopefully Canes fans will show up, but that's true. Hopefully I don't have to travel. Hopefully it's at the Watsco Stadium, right?
Oh man. What do I get for getting you a gift?
Vish got me this Miami Hoop shirt, which is really cool from Hollister. They have like a Miami Hurricanes like t-shirt line, but it's a hoop shirt, but it says Watsco Stadium on it, and it's kind of funny. But no, it's a really nice shirt though. I was gonna wear it, but like I always wear hoodies on the show, so. But with this new view, you can't really see as much.
But offer
Maybe-
code, go to aboutthefans.com, search for Hoodie Girl, offer code HG10, get 10% off.
HG10. So Matt's not here tonight, so we're not doing a Mount Rushmore final thoughts because we only do those things when the three of us are together. Anything? So the women play on Sunday at home.
Yep.
It's a ranked UNC. Vish will have all your live coverage from the Watt. I'm working.
I will be there, yes.
Yeah. But anything else about basketball?
Well, I think other than that, just to look ahead to the women's schedule, since it is the so after that they travel to Louisville on January 2nd. They play there. January 5th, come back home to host Virginia Tech. So those are the next 3 games, and there's a week off before they travel to Syracuse. So those are their 3 games, and again, 2 of those are at home. They're all 3 really good opponents.
Yeah.
So you got to get your wins. And remember, last year we got into that overtime back and forth, ridiculously high level game against Louisville. We lost. At the time, I was like, well, those are 2 tournament teams. Turns out it wasn't, and yeah, we got screwed, but we were on the bubble, and you got to take care of those should win games too, and you got to win some of these. North Carolina's a really good team, but at home, this is an opportunity to really get the season off on the right foot. It's
a really good resume builder to beat Tobacco Road ranked team. So, all right. I think that's gonna do it. We kept it to an hour. Wow, pretty good. Everyone have safe, happy holidays, happy New Year. We probably won't be back until after the New Year. If you're heading out to Orlando for the football bowl game on Saturday, me and Vish will be there.
And Jazz.
And Jazz from Six Ring. Good stuff. Follow us at Buckets_Canes. Again, Vish will have all the coverage for the women's game against UNC on Sunday.
And we will continue to cover the men, even though
we're gonna continue to cover the men. We don't run and hide. We're still fans of the program. It's just not, it hasn't been a good
look. We have a job to do. We're gonna do it.
Exactly.
I covered the whole baseball season last year. We can survive anything.
It's a shame that the pod was formed after the Final Four because it would have been fun to cover the team. But
Matt and I kind of did.
Sort of, kind of, but it wasn't really a pod until
I was sitting in press row when we blew that lead to Florida State and Matthew Cleveland hit the buzzer beater. So. Anyway, shout out before we go. Shout out to Matt. I know you couldn't make it, but we wish you were here. Happy holidays to you and your family. And
Mama Bridges is the GOAT. Thanks for the fudge.
Thanks for the fudge, but I appreciate the sun as well. Shout out to you, doing a great job with the Barons. Go Beach. Shout out to Matt.
Also, look out on our Twitter because we got to get some video of the Christmas decorations because Matt's family goes all out with the Christmas lights. So we'll probably post a video of that at some point. Maddie Lights, hard at work. Again, happy holidays, happy New Year. Be safe. Cue the Sox outro. Don't cry. Keep it chill. Wear good socks.